Fat Albert didn't follow the plan. It fell apart for 11 years. Directors quit, stars walked, and the creator, he clashed with everyone. These are 15 weird facts about Fat Albert. And the bonus? Let's just say what Cosby told his young star would haunt him forever. Hey, let's get into it.
Number 1. Tracy Morgan was the original Fat Albert. Before Saturday Night Live, before 30 Rock, before any of it, Tracy Morgan was supposed to be Fat Albert. Pre-production began in 1993. Bill Cosby had been trying to make this movie since the cartoon ended in 1985. 8 years of pitching, 8 years of rejection. He finally had a star. He finally had momentum. One problem: no studio wanted it. Executive after executive passed. The cartoon had run for 12 years. It won an Emmy nomination. It tackled racism, drugs, and death for Saturday morning audiences. None of that mattered. The project died. Tracy Morgan moved on, and Fat Albert stayed trapped in development for another decade.
Number 2. 5 directors tried and failed to make this movie. The project resurfaced in 2001. New decade, new energy, new problems. Forrest Whitaker signed on to direct. Oscar winner, serious filmmaker. He cast Omar Benson Miller as Fat Albert. It lasted about a year. Creative differences. That's the official story. The real story? Bill Cosby clashed with everyone. Whitaker wanted one vision, Cosby wanted another. The director walked, Omar Benson Miller walked with him. But Whitaker wasn't the only one who tried. Rusty Cundieff, the guy who made Tales from the Hood, he was attached, then gone. Hype Williams, the legendary music video director, also attached, also gone. David Gordon Green wrote Bill Cosby a personal letter lobbying for the job. He just made George Washington. Critics loved him. He wanted Fat Albert badly enough to put pen to paper. Cosby never responded. The job eventually went to Joel Zwick, the guy who directed My Big Fat Greek Wedding. He came aboard in summer 2003. His qualification? He'd done Full House. He'd done Family Matters. He knew family comedy. More importantly, he knew how to not fight with Bill Cosby. Number 3. Kenan Thompson was thrown out of his first audition. By the time Zwick arrived, they still didn't have a Fat Albert. Open casting calls went out. New York, Los Angeles. The producers wanted an unknown, a fresh face, some kid who could capture the innocence of the character. Hundreds of actors auditioned. Nobody worked. So they called Kenan Thompson. He showed up having received his lines that morning. No prep time, no rehearsal. He read cold. Disaster. Thompson later called it the biggest misunderstanding in the world. They told him his audition was terrible. Then they throw him out of the room. Publicly. That should have been it. But Thompson's manager had once represented Forrest Whitaker. One phone call, one favor. Kenan got a second chance. He prepared this time. He studied the character. He came back ready. The final choice came down to 2 actors, Kenan Thompson and Omar Benson Miller, the same guy who'd been cast when Whitaker was directing. Miller had the body, Thompson had the spirit. Number 4. Thompson's fat suit weighed 25 pounds.
Hello, can you hear me? I don't understand.
Kenan Thompson weighed 220 pounds during filming. Fat Albert needed to look like 475. The solution? A custom fat suit built by K&B Effects Group. They molded the suit to Thompson's body, form-fitted at the knees and elbows so he could still move. It weighed 25 pounds. Thompson couldn't sit in a normal chair. They had to build him a special director's chair, double width, just so he could rest between takes. But the real problem was heat. Fat Albert was filmed during a Los Angeles summer. Thompson was wrapped in foam and rubber while the temperature pushed past 90 degrees. They had to get him a refrigerated trailer. Between every scene, he'd retreat inside just to cool down. One more thing. Before getting the role, Thompson had been on a weight loss program. Once he was cast, they told him to stop. Don't work out, they said. We need your face to stay heavy. So Thompson gained weight for a role where he was already wearing a fat suit. Hollywood logic. Number 5. Cosby gave Thompson disturbing advice on set.
Told me in the past that you didn't want to come up with your typical hero. You wanted to come up with somebody that...
This one is uncomfortable. During filming, Bill Cosby pulled Kenan Thompson aside, creator to star, man to man. He had wisdom to share. Here's what Cosby told him. When this movie comes out, you're gonna need 2 dicks because women are going to be all over you. Thompson didn't know what to make of it. It was strange. It was uncomfortable. He filed it away and moved on. There was more. Thompson brought his mother to set to meet Cosby. The comedian bounced her on his lap, made a comment along the lines of horseback riding. Weird, but this was Bill Cosby, America's dad. You let it slide. Years later, after the allegations surfaced, Thompson told these stories on Late Night with Seth Meyers. There were little indicators of things that happened that you just go, that was a little different. He wasn't wrong. Number 6. Bill Cosby cast Thompson after watching 15 seconds of tape. Joe Zwick made an audition tape of Thompson doing Fat Albert. The voice, the mannerisms, the sweetness. He showed it to Bill Cosby. Cosby watched for 15 seconds, maybe less. Then he stopped the tape. Hire him. That was it. No discussion, no debate, no callback. Zwick later said Cosby didn't care if Thompson was funny, didn't care about his timing, didn't care about his range. He cared about one thing. All that Cosby picked up was his sweetness. He wanted that in the character of Fat Albert. 15 seconds. That's all it took to land the lead role in a movie that had been in development for 11 years.
Number 7. The original cast included Kel Mitchell. Before Joe Zwick, before Kenan Thompson, there was a completely different Fat Albert movie ready to go. Forrest Whitaker had assembled a full cast. Omar Benson Miller as Fat Albert, and playing one of the Cosby kids, Kel Mitchell, Kenan's partner from All That, his co-star from Kenan and Kel, his other half from Good Burger. They'd been a duo since 1994. Now Kel was going to be in Fat Albert without him. The rest of the cast included Lamar J. Tate, Aaron Frazier, Nico Parham, and Alfonso Macaulay as Dumb Donald. Real actors, real contracts, ready to shoot. Then Whitaker quit. The whole cast scattered. When Zwick took over, he kept 2 actors from the original lineup, Aaron Frazier and Alfonso Macaulay, but he recast Macaulay as Bucky instead of Dumb Donald. Everything else started from scratch. Kel Mitchell never made it into the final film. Instead, his comedy partner got the lead. Sometimes Hollywood works out that way.
Number 8. Hallmark owned the character designs. Here's something nobody knew at the time. The original Fat Albert cartoon was made by Filmation, same studio behind He-Man and She-Ra. When Filmation went under, Hallmark bought their entire catalog. That meant Hallmark owned the original character designs. The way Fat Albert looked, the way Mushmouth looked, the way Dumb Donald's pink hat covered his face, all of it belonged to Hallmark. When Fox started making the movie, they couldn't use those designs, no legal permission. So Warner Bros. Animation had to redesign every single character from scratch. James Lopez and Tony DeRosa, both former Disney animators, got the job. They had to make characters that looked familiar but were legally distinct. Same colors, same personalities, slightly different faces. Watch the cartoon and then watch the movie. The characters look close, but not identical. Dumb Donald's hat is a little different. Fat Albert's proportions are a little off. Now you know why. Lawyers. Number 9. Fat Albert is based on a real person who died. Fat Albert Robertson. That was his real name. Bill Cosby grew up with him in North Philadelphia during the 1950s. They played buck in junkyards. They got into trouble together. Albert was the heart of the group, the guy everyone looked up to. When Cosby started doing stand-up, he told stories about Albert. When he made the cartoon, he named the main character after him. The movie takes this further than the show ever did. In the film, Fat Albert meets a teenage girl named Doris. He helps her through her problems. At the end, we learn that Doris's deceased grandfather was Albert Robertson, the real Albert Robertson. Fat Albert, the cartoon character, was based on her grandfather. That's why she felt a connection to him. That's why he came through the television to help her. The final scene shows Bill Cosby and his actual childhood friends standing at Albert Robertson's grave, the real men who inspired the cartoon characters. The tombstone reads, Albert Robertson, our Fat Albert. As the camera pans across each elderly man, their cartoon counterpart flashes on screen. Weird Harold, Mushmouth, Dumb Donald, all real people, all still friends after 50 years, all saying goodbye. It's the most touching moment in the movie, and it's completely real.
Number 10. The movie wasn't filmed in Philadelphia. Fat Albert takes place in North Philadelphia. The junkyard, the projects, the streets Bill Cosby grew up on. The whole point of the cartoon was showing black kids in an urban environment solving problems together. Philadelphia was the soul of the show. The movie never went there. The entire film was shot in Los Angeles on studio backlots. That gritty North Philly neighborhood, a soundstage in Burbank. Critics noticed immediately. One reviewer called it a disgracefully shoddy affair that wasn't even filmed in Philly. Another said the sets looked squeaky clean and homogenized. Bill Cosby built his entire career on stories about growing up in Philadelphia. The movie, based on his most famous creation, couldn't be bothered to actually go there. Number 11. Denise Richards was cut from the film.
You're Lori.
Yeah. Who are you?
I'm Fat Albert.
Denise Richards filmed a cameo as a store saleswoman. She had her lines. She had her scene. She appeared in the original theatrical trailer. You can still find it online. Richards is right there, selling clothes to Fat Albert and the gang. Then the movie came out. Her scene was gone, completely deleted. No explanation, no official reason, just vanished. It happens in Hollywood. Actors get cut all the time, but most of them don't make it into the marketing materials first. People saw the trailer. They expected to see Denise Richards. She wasn't there. To this day, nobody knows why. Number 12. The cast was loaded with 2004 teen stars. This movie was a time capsule of mid-2000s fame. Omarion played the villain. B2K was the biggest boy band in America. They'd just finished a world tour. Teenage girls screamed his name everywhere he went, so naturally he played Reggie, the school bully who torments Doris and tries to humiliate Fat Albert. Strange casting for a teen heartthrob, but the movie needed star power. Marcus Houston played Dumb Donald. He'd been Roger on Sister Sister for 5 seasons. He was also 1/3 of the R&B group Immature, later known as IMX. In Fat Albert, he wore a pink hat that covered his entire face because, according to the movie, Dumb Donald doesn't have a face underneath. Aaron Carter showed up as a random teenager. No major role, just a cameo. He was 15 years old and everywhere in 2004. Raven Simone voiced Danielle in the animated segments. That's So Raven was the biggest show on Disney Channel. The cast list reads like a Teen People magazine from 20 years ago. Number 13. This was the first Fat Albert media released internationally. Fat Albert ran for 12 years in American television. It was one of the most successful Saturday morning cartoons in history. It tackled serious issues, it won awards, it shaped a generation. It never aired in the UK, it never aired in Japan. Most of the world had never seen it. The 2004 movie changed that. For the first time ever, Fat Albert was released in countries like the United Kingdom and Japan. International audiences had no context, no nostalgia, no childhood memories of the Junkyard Gang. They were watching a live-action movie based on a cartoon they'd never heard of. Imagine watching a Transformers movie without knowing what Transformers are. That was the international experience of Fat Albert. A bunch of weirdly dressed characters jumping out of a television for reasons that only made sense if you'd grown up with them. Number 14. Deleted scenes changed the tone. A kissing scene was filmed between Fat Albert and Lori. Joel Zwick loved it. He called it a gorgeous moment. Fat Albert falls in love, he gets the girl. It was supposed to be emotional, but test audiences hated it, specifically 12-year-old boys. They gagged during the kissing. They squirmed in their seats. So the scene was cut. There was also an extended musical sequence, the cast singing Unforgettable together. Zwick said it was beautiful but slowed the movie at a time where the movie could not be slowed. Also cut. Somewhere out there, footage exists of Fat Albert having a more romantic, more musical adventure. A version of the movie that took more chances. We'll probably never see it. Number 15. The film killed the franchise forever. Fat Albert made $48.6 million against a $45 million budget. Not a hit, not a disaster, just a movie that existed. Critics gave it 23% on Rotten Tomatoes. Audiences gave it an A- on CinemaScore. The reaction was a collective shrug. No sequel was greenlit, no animated revival, no comic book continuation. The franchise that had run for 12 years on television ended with a mediocre live-action movie that barely broke even. Then came 2014. Dozens of women came forward accusing Bill Cosby of Suddenly, everything attached to his name became toxic. The Cosby Show vanished from syndication, his stand-up specials disappeared. In fact, Albert, a children's cartoon about doing the right thing, became impossible to separate from its creator's crimes. DreamWorks currently owns the rights to most Filmation properties. That includes Fat Albert. They've done nothing with it. No reboots, no revivals, no acknowledgement that it exists. The last piece of Fat Albert media ever released was this movie. Christmas Day, 2004, 20 years ago. The franchise has been silent ever since. Fat Albert took 11 years to make. 5 directors, 3 different lead actors, a 25-pound fat suit, and a refrigerated trailer. Critics gave it 23%. Audiences gave it an A-. The same disconnect that follows every movie people actually enjoy.
The movie didn't win awards, it didn't need to. It brought a cartoon to life. It put the Junkyard Gang on the big screen. It gave a whole new generation a reason to say the name. 20 years later, people still quote it, still stream it, still remember exactly where they were when they saw Fat Albert walk out of that television set. Not bad for a film Hollywood almost killed a dozen times. Hey, 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 that's all, folks.